Okay, back to Washington for a moment. The Obama administration under pressure to withdraw another one of their picks for a top office. This one is the choice to head the National Intelligence Council. Charles Freeman is this gentleman's name. He's a veteran diplomat. He's a former senior Pentagon official, but he did cause controversy on several occasions, including after September 11th when he made this statement, quote, "And what of America's lack of introspection about September 11th? Instead of asking what might have caused the attack or questioning the propriety of the national response to it, there is," he said, "an ugly mood of chauvinism. Before Americans call on others to examine themselves, we should examine ourselves." Also, he angered supporters of Israel in 2005 when he said this, quote, these are some of the quotes that have people a little bit up in arms here. "The fact is," he said, "of course, that Israeli occupation and settlement of the Arab lands is inherently violent. Occupations are acts of violence. The dispossession of people from their land is an act of violence." Joining me now is one gentleman who is not happy with this situation. He's Michigan Congressman Pete Hoekstra, and he's the ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee. He is calling on the president to withdraw Freeman's nomination. In your position on that committee, Congressman Hoekstra, you are very deeply ingrained in all of the intelligence issues that come before our country. Why do you think that there isn't sort of greater understanding of the quotes that Mr. Freeman has said, and what are you doing to bring attention to it?
Well, I think the reason there's that greater understanding is a lot of this information has just come out in the last 3 or 4 days. People are now starting to learn about this. They're starting to express their concern because the position that Mr. Freeman is, that the president wants to move him into is the position that gives the most authoritative position that the federal government will have, that the executive branch will have on the threats that potentially the United States may face, whether it's China, the Middle East, terrorism. This is the guy that takes information from a lot of different agencies, puts it together, and gives the final analysis.
In his response, and in those who support him's response, let's pull up this quote from the DNI, Dennis Blair. He had this to say. He said, "Ambassador Freeman is a distinguished public servant who brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise in defense, diplomacy, and intelligence that are absolutely critical to understanding today's threats and how to address them. The country is fortunate that he has agreed to return to public service and contribute his remarkable skills toward further strengthening the intelligence community's analytical process." Your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll be meeting with Mr. Freeman later today. I'll be having the opportunity to ask him about some of these things. But the most important thing here is that he's not going into a diplomatic position where he will take his views and put them in. This is about analysis, and the person that's coordinating this we need to make sure that this person is coming in not with his own bias, that he will use the intelligence that has been gathered to justify some of the statements that he may have had in the past or his current position. We've had concerns in the past about putting a political bias into national intelligence estimates. We need a neutral arbiter. We need somebody really smart, but we don't need somebody to put their own imprint on these things.
Congressman, it's Trace Gallagher. I just want to jump in on that comment you just made, because a lot of people are saying, look, we want someone in there who's going to analyze intelligence. I mean, this is the most important group that analyzes intel. We want someone who's going to tell it like it is. We don't want someone who's going to kind of, shade this one way or the other. We want someone like this gentleman who can tell us exactly what he believes is going on.
Well, we need someone who will tell us exactly what the intelligence is telling us is going on. We don't need someone who is going to tell us exactly what they believe is going on. I want the clearest, communication of this is the intelligence that we've gathered, this is how we've gotten it, and this is what our intelligence is telling us, not my own personal views as to what I think is going on in the world today. There are other positions in the administration where we can put those kinds of people. We can't put them into this analytic role if they put in their own personal bias and shade intelligence.
All right, interesting. Thanks for shedding light on this, and we look forward to hearing how your meeting goes with him and if he's able to sort of put your mind at ease with regard to any of these topics. Congressman Hoekstra, thank you for joining us today.
Great, thank you.
Just crossing the urgent wires.